Previously on Night of the Serpent. The heroes of Red Bazaar stand before Vorn, the Shield Guardian. The Vegapygmies that guided them here fan out, encircle Vorn, open their arms, and begin to receive the reflected sunlight that hits off Vorn's immaculate chassis. The players are now faced with a dilemma. How do they take Vorn without disrupting the Vegapygmies? While the other two characters rest, Hek takes the time to attune to the amulet and learn of all of Vorn's ridiculous and frankly a little bit OP powers. The chieftain of the Vegapygmies, meanwhile, is giving these strangers the eye. They're suspicious of their motives and worry they might be here to harm Vorn in some way. Just when it seems like things are about to come to blows, Gulveif offers a trade. She reaches into her bag and pulls out the Amphora of Alchemy, the magic item the characters recovered from the House of Man and Crocodile sessions and sessions ago. Gulveif explains to the Vegapygmies that it can be used to create any kind of liquid, water or fertilizer or whatever the Vegapygmies might want. After much trial and tribulation, the characters have the amulet, and they have Vorn. Vorn is a massive mechanical juggernaut, about 8 feet tall, covered entirely in armor plates, an unthinking, single-minded automaton, unstoppable and unsubtle. It crashes through the brush, making tons of noise and leaving an unmistakable trail wherever it goes. After some discussion, the party agrees that 13 should keep it, making them almost invulnerable with a combination of Eku's blessing and Vorn's protection. On the first day, the party decides to head southwest, towards Orlunga and the first of their 3 landmarks. Hek flies over the treetops to scout the path ahead, Gulveif does the guiding, and Vorn carries 13 like an enormous walking cat tower through the jungle. At one point along the way, the jungle suddenly goes quiet, and they hear a tremendous and familiar roar. The King in Feathers nearby. The party tenses, but the legendary dinosaur never appears. Later in that day, they encounter a troop of gorillas, and it's Silverback who threat displays to warn them off. But with an offering of fruit, the party manages to distract the big brute and his troop long enough to get away cleanly. That night they sleep, and they have their nightmares, for Eku refuses to leave their hiding place in the back of 13's mind. For the second and third days, the party continues southwest without incident. They pass several landmarks they recognize from the goblins guiding them north, and are thus confident in their direction. That night, Eku is slowly coaxed from hiding by 13, and the party discusses things a little bit. Eku apologizes for striking Hek. Hek doesn't apologize, but is confronted by the party about their killing of the goblins. Eku warns Hek that, should he kill another innocent creature, they will have a conflict between them. On the 4th day, they go slightly off course, headed to the southeast. In the ruins of an abandoned village, the party is stalked by an Allosaurus that creeps from the trees. While Gulveif and Hek ready their attacks, the Allosaurus charges from the brush, it stomps on Gulveif, and then leaps up into the trees and manages to pull Hek to the ground, chomping him with one good bite. 13 dashes in and hamstrings the dinosaur, and then Vorn closes the distance and punches the Allosaurus to death, ending the encounter. That night, at 13's urging, Eku devours Gulveif's dreams. But once again, in the morning, 13 has ceded control, and now Eku alone is in charge of the Tabaxi's body. Atop a small hillock, they spot a ruined shrine, and inside they see a small cluster of eerily still figures huddled together. As Hek, atop Vorn, moves to investigate, the figures all turn with perfect synchronicity and attack. They are dead things of all different races and backgrounds, steered like meat puppets by a vine that creeps up into their flesh. They throw themselves against the Shield Guardian. Hek takes to the air and begins to blast them, and Gulveif wades in with her hammer. There's a toxic smell, a creeping musk, that keeps trying to work its way into the party's nostrils, but they manage to fight through this. As the zombies fall, one by one, some of them rise back up again, refusing to be felled so easily, and revealing in their wounds the ropey green vines within. Eku, steering 13, dances around the edge of the combat and tries to discern the source of the smell. In the moment that 13 finally regains control, they fail their save against the musk, and they are entranced, walking towards the massive orchid that grows on the interior wall of the shrine. Hek swoops to the rescue and begins blasting the orchid, but not before 13 drops to their knees, opens their mouth, and accepts a tendril of the vine. When the orchid finally dies, the rest of the zombies all stop attacking and start walking off in random directions, but Gulveif and Hek do not let them escape. 13 is rescued, the rest of the vine is pulled out of their mouth, and the characters rest, but are unable to learn anything more about this bizarre plant. A short distance away, they are approached by a baby hadrosaur, crying out for its mother. A short distance away, they're approached by a little baby hadrosaur, crying out hopelessly for its mother. When it never comes, Gulvif decides to adopt the little creature, and the party begins debating what to name it. And that's where we stopped. That's where we ended the adventure. So how did the session go? I thought it went really well. I thought it was definitely improved on last week. It was nice to just have a session where we wandered the jungle and encountered what we encountered and really just got like a taste of what Chult and what Tomb of Annihilation is meant to be. There were a lot of encounters in this session, so I'm going to try to hit each one of them individually real quick. Because the King and Feathers feature so prominently in Heck's backstory, I'm trying to do this thing where we get these little tastes of the monster here and there and there and there before they actually get a chance to confront it. And so this was the second, I think, of what I planned to be 8, 10 little hints or suggestions of the creature. And I thought it worked really well. I am all about gorillas, so it was really fun to get to use one in this encounter and bring some of that knowledge to bear. I think the party could kind of tell how excited I got. The Allosaurus was a fun, quick fight, one that actually managed to threaten Heck. After weeks and weeks of him basically being invulnerable in a lot of these fights, it was fun to see like a flicker of fear on his face. The thing is, it wasn't a difficult encounter or even a tough monster. It didn't even take that much damage, but all I needed to do was scare him, was to make him feel like he's not invulnerable or out of reach. So that was fun. Very simple, but still successful. The Yellow Musk Creeper was definitely sort of the centerpiece encounter of the session. It worked well on a lot of different levels. It was almost more about solving the encounter than it was necessarily about overcoming it. Lots of different factors. You had Eku kind of steering 13. You had Gulvif and Vorn struggling against the zombies, kind of the center of the fight. The Yellow Musk kind of like creeping out. Everybody making saves every round. The important lesson here is that encounters can have a lot of different operant verbs besides just challenge. For this one, I went with horrify. And I tried to do a lot of body horror stuff with the vines like creeping into their mouth. And it really seemed to freak Kay out, which was definitely a plus. The Hadrosaur was the last encounter. And yeah, the way it was written, the mother was eventually supposed to arrive, but just because of the timing of the session, I didn't really have time to pace that all out. So now they just kind of have this baby Hadrosaur, and I'm sort of okay with it. It doesn't really affect them mechanically. Maybe kind of a pain to drag this thing around the whole time, but H seemed to like it, and they've had several of their pets sort of taken away from them at this point, so I feel like I have to kind of leave the Hadrosaur alone, at least for a while, until I, invariably butcher it or massacre it for drama. The two big overarching themes of this session, I think, were Eku and Vorn. It's interesting to see things kind of develop with Eku that, like, the party is slowly beginning to mend. I did have to stop at one point and sort of remind everyone that Eku is not me, that these are two different things. You want to bring this NPC along, they're going to have opinions and reactions to stuff. So I still feel like we're kind of having some fallout from last time, but I think it's going to work out all right. And then Vorn. Vorn was really the big test drive. I wanted to make it clear to the party that it came with advantages and disadvantages. The Allosaurus fight and the zombies were a good example to see what Vorn is good at, just standing there and absorbing damage. The combination of Vorn taking half of 13's damage and then healing 10 points every round is really game-breaking, but I don't think it matters as much in these, like, random encounters, if that makes sense. Like, when we get to a set-piece encounter, I'm gonna have to try to either find ways to limit Vorn or hinder Vorn. Like, I don't think it's bad to every once in a while put them in a position where Vorn can't really help them. But at the same time, you don't want to make it feel like that whole quest was worthless. I do have a story way to write Vorn out eventually. I don't really foresee Vorn staying with the party the entire time, but I thought this session worked as a good way to show that Vorn can be very powerful, and it's kind of a reward for doing the whole goblin side quest. I think it's going to work out in the short term, but probably not in the long term. But let them have their fun for now, right? They did it. They deserve it. Great. That's how this session went. I thought it was really fun. It was just nice and easy, like a transition session. We probably have one more session before they get to Oralunga, and we've got some backstory stuff coming up next time. I'll try to be a little bit more regular with these videos. I know it's been kind of sporadic, and my schedule's been jumping around a lot, but I should have more dedicated time to record in the future. How do you think the session went? Do you have any questions about the way that I'm running Tomb of Annihilation or changes I made to the campaign? What was the last time that you really creeped the party out? Not necessarily challenged them, but just scared them or horrified them in your campaign? Leave me a comment below. I'd love to read it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy adventuring.